speaking of Magoo, so excited that the Magoo has joined us again. This is Rob Schmitt. We're back in that Mar-a-Lago ballroom that never gets used except for Trump interviews. That looks like the inside of a wedding cake. This time, look how featured the book is. They moved it out of the way because it looks like they're about to. It looks like Rob Schmitt just shoved the table to one side and he's about to dive on Trump, like some romantic movie where they just clear the table and start having sex. My lips look chapped. That's just because I had lip stuff on them, and then they're not. That's what happens when I use non-lip chappy stuff. So hold on, let me move me. Look at me. Hi, can I just? Hey guys, what's going on? Mind if I sit here? Just have a couple of questions. No biggie. Just all right. And go. All right. I want a nice clean fight. I want both of you to touch gloves and come out smooching. All right, here we go. I'm kidding. I'm certain that this interview is going to be a ball buster. It's going to be tough as nails. It's going to be crazy. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way Rob Schmitt is gonna let him get away with his usual shenanigans. I'm very excited. All right, here we go. Let's check this out. Hold on. Is there audio in this thing? What happened? Oh, the audio is turned off. Can't do that to me. Back this nonsense up. Hello.
And welcome to Rob Schmitt tonight.
What? Oh, first of all, you know what, Schmitt? The sound. What's the audio here? You guys not wearing mics?
We're here at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida.
In the boomiest room on the property.
The place to be this time of the year, absolutely.
No, it isn't. You have to be a member. And don't get me wrong, Rob. You look like a member.
At least in the United States. A wonderful place, a beautiful place.
Yes. If you're in St. Petersburg, there are many better places that look like wedding cakes you can hang out.
The 45th president of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, president.
Sorry to wake you up.
So much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Rob.
It's wonderful to have you on.
What? Sorry, Earl?
States, Mr. Donald Trump, president. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Yeah, thanks very much, Earl. His name is Rob. Who the fuck is Earl? You're kidding, right?
Of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, president. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Yeah, thank you very much, Earl. Shit. I'm not the only one that heard that, am I? One more time. His name is Rob.
Of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, president. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you very much, Earl.
You on, and we do appreciate it. I want to start with obviously the most pressing situation I think this country has right now, which is the situation between Russia and Ukraine. It's a situation that a lot of people, a lot of Republicans think, and Ukrainians think, that President Biden has made worse.
Do they? A lot of them? Republicans and Ukrainians. They're like this.
If in this situation, all of a sudden you were handed the gavel, you can run the whole situation, what exactly would you do today?
Yes. Strategy. Here we go. Thank you, Earl. Thanks so much, Earl, for asking the real tough questions. Here we're going to get strategy. We're not going to get platitudes about how Afghanistan was the most embarrassing thing. We're not going to get about where they're laughing at us. We're not going to hear any of that shit because Earl shit has just asked him a solid question. Tactics. Tactics. That's what we want to hear. I'm very excited. Way to go for it, Earl.
To fix it.
Well, it's a tricky question because it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have.
Yeah, it would just been magically solved.
And this was not even thinkable. And
yeah, it was. They invaded Crimea. They controlled Donbass. They took 2 other regions while you were president in Georgia. You just didn't give a fuck.
China wouldn't have happened, and
Yes, China would have never happened. There would have been no China. I blame China. I blame Biden for creating for the whole Qing dynasty thing. Philip Pittner, please hold on. Reach out to me, Russia. I lived there and covered it for CBS. I want to impart some knowledge. Love to hear it, Philip. Tweet me, my friend. That'll be great.
wouldn't have happened. This was not even thinkable.
Yeah, like just like Ukraine wasn't thinkable. What's that face?
And China wouldn't have happened. And what's going to happen with Taiwan now, and lots of other problems.
What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, Earl, get him back on track. What do you think's going to happen? No, he's got to tell you what his tactic would have been. Don't let him move on from this, you prick.
I think that after the Olympics, it'll be a very interesting period of time.
Thanks very much. Yeah. Shit. Yeah, after the Olympics, China's going to attack Taiwan because they lost the fucking the rhythmic dancing.
Because they see the way we withdrew from Afghanistan.
Oh my God. I don't want, but please, he asked you tactics. Okay, so maybe that's part of it. They saw how we got out of Afghanistan, how we stopped paying $300 million a fucking day.
And a horrible way, not the fact that we did, because I was the one that got it down to 2,000 soldiers, but we were getting out with strength and dignity and the equipment and no death.
Were we? When was that supposed to happen? Was there where's that plan? Has he released that? He's going to talk about Abdul? Shit.
What happened is terrible, and the world watched, and they watch our borders where people are flooding into our country. We have no idea who they are, where they come from.
Well, a lot of times we can tell by the language they speak and the fact that their children speak the same language.
And things are happening now that are very bad. I've never seen anything like what's happening to our country.
But let's say right now Biden calls you.
Yeah, get him back on track, Earl.
Says, I have no idea what to do here.
Yeah, that's what he would say. Totally. He calls you back in and says, please help me, former asshole. Thank you, Philip. I'm an old Gen X, so I don't have to. Hold on. 1 second. The mouse on this thing. Just follow me on there, Philip, and I'll talk to you back. Just text me and or tweet me on there, and I'll do it. Yeah. Okay.
Tell me what to do. What would you say to do in this moment?
You have to project strength. Yeah. He doesn't have any respect for our leadership. He doesn't have any respect for our country anymore. They respected our country, and frankly, they respected our leader a year ago. This was not something.
A year ago, Biden was the leader. Just for the record, a year from today, Biden was president. This is even after the election.
Ever going to happen. Supply chain was never going to happen. Many things weren't going to happen.
No.
Inflation, when you look at that, you look at the crime rate in the cities, what's happening to Democrat-run cities.
It was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. We were just going to stay in COVID and everyone was going to die.
But this was something in Ukraine that was never going to happen.
Oh, so it was never going to happen? Jesus.
Not on the books.
Say never going to happen again.
Well, I think this was something that Putin would have always liked to have done, but he didn't see the opportunity, certainly not in the last few years.
Yeah.
So,
because he didn't have to fight for it. You were going to hand it to him, and then you're out of office. And like, well, there, plan B.
Victor Davis Hanson, who's a terrific, I think, historian and philosopher, said, one thing with Trump, nothing happened during the Trump years.
That's nothing. Yeah, certainly we didn't get out of Afghanistan. That's for fucking sure. Nothing happened. Not just the greatest pandemic that's ever hit the country, at which he thinks is a bioweapon. Nothing happened. Holy hell.
Historian and philosopher said, one thing with Trump, nothing happened during the Trump years with respect to Russia. Much happened.
Nothing. No.
Before, you know that, and much happened right now after. But nothing happened. Frankly, nothing happened with respect to any country. They didn't take advantage of us. We got back in the swim. We made better trade deals. We did a lot of good things, but nothing happened that was negative to the United States.
Nothing. Nothing happened that was negative to the United States. Holy shit. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dead Americans, but nothing.
Republicans are calling for the transcripts of the phone call between Zelensky and Biden. The phone call, it's been reported, was a nightmare, even reported by CNN to have been a nightmare.
It was a nightmare, was it? It was a nightmare. Oh, God, it was a nightmare. Two world leaders disagreeing over tactics and the U.S. president going, dude, we have all the spy satellites. Trust me, these assholes mean you ill. I don't think, yeah.
They went hard for you for transcripts on a phone call.
Yeah, but that's because he was denying help, not encouraging Ukraine to take the help. See, the Congress had already given them the help, and he was withholding it because it's not that there is a transcript or a call. It's what's actually said and nothing report. All right, never mind.
You think Biden will release them the way that you did?
Well, I gave mine out very openly. They didn't even ask for them. I gave them out because they made up my phone call.
No, they didn't. It said exactly what they said it did, and that's why you got impeached. You released it thinking, what's the problem? You committed a crime.
I said this and that 8 times, quid pro quo. 8 times. You're going to say 8 times? I want this, I want that. 8 times the same thing. Just so crazy. It was Schiff, he's a nut job, and all these people. No, I gave mine out, and it's lucky we had a transcript because they lied about my call. They lied totally. I got impeached over a fake, phony story that
this is a guy who feels like a winner.
Made up. It would be interesting to see the call.
By the way, there were big chunks of the call in the transcript that were cut out. It was not a full transcript. The full transcript was put on another server entirely, the NICE server, the NICE server, and classified as above top secret. The one they released was not a word for word verbatim one. It was based on like, yeah, he said this and then he said this.
I suspect the call was pretty much like they said.
Right.
But it's not going to change anything.
Mm-mm.
Not going to change anything, but it certainly would be interesting to see it.
And do you think Russia makes any moves? Do you think they go?
It's looking like they will. I would have said it's not even possible. This is not something that ever would have happened if we were there.
Yeah.
But it's looking.
Well, that's because you were undermining NATO. You were basically in the process of dismantling NATO. You were giving Putin everything he wanted. Then when you left, oh, NATO still exists. Fuck me. I have some work to do.
To me, Rob, like they will make a move.
The first year of this presidency.
By the way, excuse me.
Yeah.
At a minimum,
Yeah.
they're going to negotiate a lot of good stuff.
A lot of good stuff. Sweet deal with all you got to do, park some fucking tanks on the border and just get some sweet waste of time out of that.
Because if they don't make a move,
Yeah.
Biden will give them everything.
Yeah.
What? If they don't make a move, Biden will give them everything. So if they... Oh, in exchange for not making a move? I think that's what
The
it means.
first year of this presidency, I know you have a lot of thoughts about that. There's a 17% approval of the direction that this country is going in right now. 17% of Americans think we're going in the right direction.
Is that the lowest ever?
It might be. I don't.
Is it the lowest? Can I say that at a rally if I ever have another one? Can I say it's the? I'm just going to say it's the lowest, and it's going down even further, and nobody can even believe it.
The answer to
Can't
that. But
imagine
I
being
can't
much
imagine
lower.
it being much lower unless maybe
I've
the
never
Great
heard of
Depression.
it.
Maybe the Great Depression, but that's a Gallup poll, by the way. Your reaction to that?
Well, I've never heard of a number like that. That's the lowest number I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a record or not. But as you say, the Great Depression, maybe if they ever did it during
They
the
did
Great
it,
Depression. There was no money to do polls in the Great Depression, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that was the problem, really. The poverty was so bad they couldn't even call people or text them to ask how they felt. I mean, there were some online polls during the Great Depression.
it's a terrible number. It's probably high.
Do you the
You're probably high. What? Oh, he means it's probably even that is probably that's this whole thing. It's a record and it's going lower. It's probably even lower than that. It's probably the worst. It's probably they're being nice.
I think the biggest problem that we have of all the problems that we've accumulated in the last year has got to be inflation. You've got regular Americans that work hard are much poorer underneath this administration than they were a year ago or 2 years ago. And the inflation is very bad.
Yeah, just pretend 2020 never happened.
It's going to slow down. Doesn't look like it's going to slow down.
No, it doesn't.
What needs to be done? This is the stuff.
Yes, tactics. Tell them what you would tell the Fed to do. Don't just tell me it's outrageous and it would have been better and this never would have happened.
You guys did well. You guys were great with economic stuff. You had a great team, a great economic team. What should they?
Yeah, but then why did you flood all that money in September of 2019 if everything was going well? You were trying to avert a recession. Why would you have to do that if your plans had worked? And why are you sitting like that?
What does the Fed need to do to nip this right now so it doesn't get any worse?
I don't really think it's the biggest problem, but it's a real big one. I think the biggest problem is what's happening on our border.
Oh. Oh. Hear that, Newsmax crowd? It's inflation is not your biggest problem. You know why? Because he knows it's a year-over-year one, and Commission we want to give you a brief of your Twitter request when you're not doing. Cool, will do. Thanks, Ben. Dude, you can't. How much was this fucking setup? Like, all he wants to talk about is they're dumping people. They're the prisons of the people.
Millions and millions of people are coming into our country.
By the way, it's 3 million crossings, 1 million people, and it's lower than 2019.
No idea who they are. And not only millions of people, but billions and billions of dollars worth of drugs at a level 10 times what it was a year ago.
No.
And I think that's probably the biggest problem right now, because it's going to take a long time to fix.
Yeah.
But inflation could be done much more easily, frankly, if you got your energy.
Look at this. Inflation is an easy fix.
Down. Inflation was hurt very badly by the energy, because when I was there, it was
hurt very badly by the energy.
$1.87 a gallon for gas.
Because no one was going anywhere.
Now you know what it is? It's
double.
like $5, $6, and even $7 in places in California.
Fucking hell. Is he going to make me do this? Son of a bitch must pay. I don't know why in the... All right. We've done this a bunch. But some people are new. Sorry. Gas... California. He keeps bringing this fucking thing up. I'm going to keep running it. You guys know. Fact or fiction? California gas station charging $7 per gallon? I know I've done it before. Fucking hell. In story, you've seen claims there's a gas station in California charging more than $7 a gallon. Sadly, it's true. $7.59. Premium is going for $8.50. The town is known for some of the highest prices. Again, look at this. Remember when Trump was president? Here you go. Read that. Anybody who's new, shit. In 2019, while Trump was president, $11.75 for a single gallon of gas in that same fucking town. Gas prices are down fucking $6. Shit. All right. We've done this so many times.
So
it's not even hard.
That's a fourfold and threefold increase. I think that if you got the energy down, we were energy independent first time in many, many decades. I mean, maybe
because of natural gas and stuff that's been going on since 2002.
Ever. They say 72 years. I think maybe ever. And we were energy independent. Think of that.
Yeah.
And
72 years, there wasn't a lot of reason to bring in stuff from we were mostly coal plants, dumbo.
Low
Nobody had
gasoline
cars.
and fuel prices, energy prices. And now they've gone up so much that I think they have driven the price of almost everything up, because energy is all invasive. It's all over, right? And I really think if you got the energy prices down very substantially, inflation.
And how do you do that? How do you get the energy prices down? Anwar? Keystone? Keystone is Canadian tar sands oil. It's shit. And Anwar, you're 8 years away from getting any fuel out of the ground from that place. If we had energy independence, it would just be a matter of production, wouldn't it? Oh, right. We had it because there was a stability in the oil markets pre-COVID that meant Europe would buy theirs from Russia and from Saudi Arabia and Qatar and other places, and we would have enough of our own because we have oil companies as well, and the open market was fairly even. Once everybody's economy started going back from below zero, everybody was scrambling for every bit of energy they could get, and they drove the price up. And there's not enough tankers and people, to work the tanker ships.
Have a chance to come down.
Should the Fed's talking about interest rate hikes in this year? I think there may be maybe 3 or 4 hikes this year. A lot of economists have said, even on my show, that they got to hike more than they're anticipating doing if they want to get this under control.
Yeah, that's deflationary and idiotic, and it's stupid, and it's treating the whole thing as if. Ask Turkey how that's working out, by the way.
Do we need a dramatic hike? They've kept it low for a long time.
Yeah.
You know,
You're going to have to do something about the inflation, and that's one of the ways that you solve the inflation problem. I was here when the prime rate went to 21%. That was during the Jimmy Carter years, and the same thing could happen right now.
yeah.
No, it could not. The Fed is not going to 21%. Are you insane?
Energy costs are so high.
How high
We're
are
going
they?
back to OPEC, and we're going to Russia to ask for energy for the east coast of the United States. Can you believe it?
No.
They're the ones supplying it.
No, I don't believe it, because we're not. What we're asking them to do is increase production so that Europe is buying at a regular amount, so that our oil companies over here don't sell to them first. Because if the price, if they're willing to pay a higher price than we are, the price goes up. We don't have nationalized oil, and these assholes are calling for us to be Venezuela again.
Which tends to be on the liberal side, has the highest energy prices in the country, and they're fueled by Russia. The whole thing is stunning. Who
No, they're not.
can even believe this?
No one believes it. It's bullshit. We do not get oil from Russia. What the fuck is this asshole grinning about?
We didn't need anybody's energy when I was there. We were energy independent. We made our own, and it was very inexpensive.
The funniest thing is, after all the pandering that we saw over climate change from this administration, they sold themselves as warriors on this issue. The Washington Post reporting that the Biden administration has outpaced your administration in issuing drilling on public lands.
You can't sweep the leg with his narrative like that. Well, the next thing you're going to bring up is that Obama expelled more illegal aliens than anybody in history.
Oil and gas, which to me, frankly, is hilarious. How ridiculous does that look to you after everything that they said?
Well, it's pretty ridiculous, and I think that the bottom line is we're taking in a lot less energy because we don't have energy to fuel ourselves. So we had tremendous amounts of excess energy, so much so that I filled up the strategic reserves. First time in 40 years that they.
Bullshit. Oh, thanks, Dr. Kevscow. First time in 40 years. Oil was negative $35 a barrel. He waited till it was up to $25 a barrel just so the oil companies could make something off the government instead of us as the taxpayer getting the greatest deal ever. Bullshit.
Right to the top. They were empty.
They were not empty. They're never empty, stupid.
Biden is using the strategic reserves that I filled
oil
up
prices,
to try and reduce oil prices. Can you believe this?
Yes, with other countries, not by himself.
They're not meant for that. They're meant in case of war, etc. But I filled
War, etc. Bullshit. Most of the time they're used to try to alleviate an economic pressure on the system.
75 million barrels. I filled them up at very low prices.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Weird.
It's amazing how I'm just sitting here across from you, and that fart was explosive. It's still lingering.
In Texas, talking about oil. Texas knows a lot about that game.
And you did a good job too.
And the crowd was massive.
Heather and the group, they did a fantastic job.
And we really appreciate you saying that. And we've been airing all your rallies. And this crowd.
Oh yeah. Great. And they haven't. Newsmax hasn't carried all of his rallies.
Really was massive. It was a massive crowd. I know you're not announcing anything yet. I'm not going to bug you about that. How do you feel support-wise, though?
Do you feel like people are sufficiently donating enough money or buying your stupid fucking book?
Read something the other day from Laura Ingraham over at Fox News saying she's not ready to support you yet. Are you feeling any hesitation?
You what now? Look at his face. That's frigging hysterical. Laura Ingraham, what? She did what now? Look at this cut. This is beautiful. Back up.
The other day from Laura Ingraham over at Fox News saying she's not ready to support you yet.
Bam!
Are you feeling any hesitation?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said she was misquoted, so you'll have to ask her.
Oh, okay.
Look, I think that I've never
Did she say she was misquoted, or is he just making that up too?
heard poll numbers. I've never had better support within the party, and I've never had more support outside the party.
Yeah, you have.
And it's very simple. Our country is going to hell, and we were doing great.
So great.
The pandemic, until the whole thing started with China and the China virus, we had numbers the likes of which this country or any country in the world had never seen before.
Also nonsense, like post-World War II, numbers were way better. There's lots of times when we were rolling. It's just goofy. But beyond that, you have to understand, this is under the context that this asshole believes that China attacked us with a bioweapon while he was president.
Then we had to pull back.
Thanks, Alyosha.
And I had to get that under control, and we filled up all the cupboards, which were all bare.
Yeah, all the cupboards were bare, and Goldilocks was in the softest bed.
They had no...
They really blew it on COVID. What the...
They didn't have goggles. They didn't have anything.
They didn't have goggles, nothing.
And we filled them up with ventilators, with everything.
No goggles, though?
We became the ventilator country of the world in a 6 month.
The ventilator country of the world.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And
Obama had ordered a big bunch of ventilators, and Trump had tanked the order. And they had to restart the order from scratch and paid full retail because the deal the Obama administration to buy them cheaper was thrown out. And then he was like, oh, shit, we need ventilators. And when they went back to buy them, they're like, no, that deal's gone. This is how much they cost now.
Pandemics and the vaccines and everything. We did everything in less than 9 months. It was supposed to take 5 to 12 years.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it would have taken 5 to 12 years if it was 1961.
And did a great job. And we handed him over something that was incredible. And they really blew it on COVID. They really blew it.
Did they? They sure as shit did well getting Democrats inoculated.
To this day, they weren't equipped. They have no tests. Now they're getting the tests from China.
More have died under Biden with a vaccine than under you without a vaccine.
Substantially more people have died.
No, and not substantially. And also, the spread started in March. Basically, April was the window of it. So April to December versus Biden's entire year. Secondarily, who is dying? Is it people dying en masse because they're inoculated? Or is it Trumpers? Yeah, all right.
You've been more vocal about vaccines lately, more maybe pro-vaccine of late. Obviously, we also have this situation with the truckers in Canada as well.
Yeah.
And you have a situation where these guys are fighting a vaccine mandate.
In Canada. None of our fucking business.
Yeah.
But they not necessarily anti-vax.
No, that's right. No,
you're supporting them.
They don't want to be told that they have to put this in the body, and I understand.
Yeah, well, excuse me, they have to interact with people along the route, whatever they're picking up and dropping off. We would rather them not, as truckers, be the typhoid Mary of every Canadian slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of what we've done. Also with therapeutics. I mean, we have, between the Regeneron and all the other stuff that...
Yeah, those don't work on Omicron.
Come out.
They do not work. They don't. They don't work on Omicron. CDC pulled their recommendation to use them because of that very thing. They don't help. But it's only the dominant strain, so...
Things that really can make you better and do make you better, and Biden doesn't have them. They don't even talk about them. But these...
Well, yeah, they do. They have them in the hospitals. They don't talk about them because you want people to get vaccinated. You want the focus to be on vaccination, not on, I don't need to get vaccinated. I'll take one of these monoclonal antibiotics, and they'll just stick that hose up my ass and flush it out.
They suppress therapeutics. Why do you think they don't like to talk about it?
I don't get it.
I'll tell you exactly why. Because you want people to get vaccinated. Therapeutics are the last resort once you're in the fucking hospital. You're already gacking up the entire process if you're at that point. If you can avoid, and they're way more expensive. It's cheaper to get vaccinated. It's less stress on the medical system. You're not taking up an ICU fucking bed. That's why.
Therapeutics are powerful and they're good and they're making people better and they don't even talk.
Yeah, after they're sick. but they're expensive and they don't work on everybody. And some people take them and still die. The vaccine isn't that way. Oh, good.
Well, it doesn't make sense.
When I talk
I don't know why it doesn't make sense. I just explained it.
people and we talk about, there's a lot of people that absolutely love the mission that you were on. They think that Washington does not work for the American people. They think Washington only works for itself, which is
unlike Mar-a-Lago.
I completely agree
Right.
with. But what I hear from a lot of people is that it's exhausting going through the process of fighting back against the swamp. Your presidency was exhausting to them.
Well, all right. Maybe there are bridge points between us as human beings. Taking on the swamp. Explain the swamp to us. I just learned today that the Russians call it the blob. Yeah.
And they're exhausted by that fight.
Well, they're more exhausted now by this Biden fight. Look at what's going on.
Yeah.
He's very divisive.
He's very divisive. When you mean but when he said please get vaccinated, it was like, fuck, man, why don't you just spit on the Confederate flag and tell people
Plus,
heritage
don't
is
forget,
meaningless?
We came in, and the first day we got there, we were hit with a phony Russia deal. We had to fight that. So we
Yes, look at him, Earl. This is a man lost. Stare at him, Earl. Try to get him back on track. You can do it, Earl. We believe in you.
fighting that and doing more than any president just about has ever done for our country. We built the economy. We rebuilt the military. We opened Space Force. We had low interest rates. We
had low interest rates.
Taxes. And
He was trying to get us at a negative interest rate, which was like, want to collapse the dollar? Yeah. I don't know why anyone would want that to happen.
more than any president has ever cut taxes or regulations.
That's also a lie.
We did a great job. But at the same time, we were fighting the radical left on the impeachment hoaxes, which was, over a perfect phone call to Ukraine. It was perfect.
It was perfect. I didn't say any of the crime words. I left that up to Rudy. Rudy was supposed to fly there and say the crime part. I just said the wink and nod stuff. I winked and nodded perfectly. They even cut the part out where I was like, you better or you won't, you better or you won't, you better or you won't 8 times. They cut that out of the transcript. It was perfect. And then the whole thing fell apart. And by the way, can I, just for the record, let's say he never meant ill. He never did anything wrong. The phone call was completely legal. And yet it caused all this shit because of how he talks and what he said. That distinction makes it an imperfect call. If it was perfect, you couldn't get in this kind of trouble. If it was perfect, people would have understood clearly you weren't threatening him. Right? Does that make any sense?
Tim Scott, the great senator from South Carolina, read it. He said, because we had a transcript, he said, this call is perfect. What are they doing?
This is perfect. I wish I could make phone calls like this. You said hello, you hung up. I mean, what more can you want? The stuff that happens in the middle, that's just busy work.
So when they say that,
Yeah.
we were fighting these people. We had no choice. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been there. They would have gotten us out. They were staging a coup. They were trying to get us out of office.
Well, no, a coup would be extrajudicial. They were using the judicial system, and the fact that you stayed in is exemplary of the system being kind of coup impervious. Ask Mike Pence.
A lot of that, because that is one thing that I hear is that it was just such an exhausting 4 years. Is the reason for that? Obviously, one side blames you for all of that.
Yeah. What side would that be? Oh, you mean the Republicans?
The
rhinos
made all this noise for 4 years. What is your perspective on that?
Well, the reason for that is that they hit us before I even got into office with phony investigations.
Yeah.
They continue, always continuing. They should be the ones investigated. Nancy Pelosi should be investigated for doing such a bad job on Capitol security.
Yeah, why couldn't she recognize that if I bring a bunch of people within blocks of the Capitol, there's going to be a murderous attack where people take a shit in the rotunda? How do you not know that? How do you look at a Trump gathering and not go, oh, fuck? We should investigate how Nancy Pelosi could have looked at a gathering of maggots and gone, I don't know, they don't seem dangerous.
asked for 10,000 soldiers, and we would have given 20, and it's well documented, to go, and because I knew how big the rally would be.
Right, and it was going to be full of your supporters, right? And they were looking. I don't know why Nancy Pelosi, in trying to make sure we had a peaceful exchange of power, didn't surround the Capitol with soldiers while your supporters were, dicking around on the lawn.
It was a protest against a rigged election, and I knew how big it was going to be. And I said, why don't we have soldiers there? But
because my people are fucking nuts.
In charge of Capitol security, and she didn't want any soldiers.
Yeah, she didn't want you to send National Guard troops that you believed had allegiance to you that you could sort of sick on Congress. I don't know why she would be nervous about that.
So she's responsible for it. And then had Mike Pence.
Yeah, I mean, how could she not know?
Sent it back to the legislatures, you wouldn't have had the same kind of anger. There wouldn't be an anger.
No, there would have just been the false there would have been a coup. And by the way, yeah, there would have been anger. It would have been a lot uglier. I mean, nearly full-blown civil war. If they'd been successful in overturning this or trying to on a lie like that, please.
Because the legislatures would have done whatever they were going to do. I mean, there was a lot of corruption. There was a lot of phony voting, phony.
Oh, yes. And they all voted for Trump. Prove me wrong.
And they should have been sent back. And it's sort of interesting. They said he didn't have the right to do that, but now they're trying to change the law that says he can't do it. Okay.
No. They're trying to clarify the law so nobody even thinks they can. The law says he can't. Now they're making it unequivocal. That's the point. That we don't want any wiggle room. There should be no doubt. So they are tightening the law so that you can go, I thought I could. That we do that with laws all the time.
I said, well, I thought he didn't have the right. Why you have to change the law? It's sort of interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it's interesting that someone as dumb as you would end up being president and look for any wiggle room in a law that they can get through so that after you leave, they're like, fuck, we got to batten down the hatches around here. We never expected anybody would read their way around the law.
On Saturday at the rally, you talked about the potential, if it's appropriate, of pardoning some of the January 6ers.
Yeah.
Yes, he also pronounced the word general very humorously.
Lindsey Graham said a couple days later he thinks that's inappropriate. What do you think?
Well, Lindsey Graham's wrong. I mean, Lindsey's a nice guy, but he's a rhino.
Why is he a rhino? He's a Republican in name only? Lindsey Graham is a Democrat disguised as a Republican. That's what a rhino means. Do you think he knows what rhino means? Or is it just the current, like, rhino literally at this point just means an insufficiently Trump loyal member of the GOP?
Lindsey's wrong. Look.
No, he's not.
They
Is it broken clock theory with Lindsey Graham this time?
burned down Washington. We're talking federal buildings. They were terrible. Every Democrat city was on fire. And nobody
Yeah, and nobody could get marshmallows. It was terrible.
says anything about it. Antifa and BLM were causing such problems, including death. Don't forget, with the exception of one young, fine woman, nobody died on January 6th. Nobody.
Yeah, but it wasn't like there was a lack of trying. And young, fine woman, she was with a group of people trying to hang your vice president.
Died on January 6th. They like to say 5 people, but nobody died on January 6th.
No, they died the next day, and some people are just, permanently wounded.
Nobody was intentionally killed. Besides her.
Nobody was intentionally killed. Right.
The person who died was Ashley Babbitt. She was killed by a ruthless man that never should have.
A ruthless man? Fuck you. Holy God. Ruthless? The dude had one job and he did it.
His gun to shoot her. She was killed.
And he's a hero to the left.
He's a hero to the Capitol.
That cop is a hero.
I think it's a disgrace. And in fact, they wanted to shield him, but he couldn't get on television fast enough. I saw his interview. And he thinks it was great that he shot her and killed her. And she didn't have a gun. She didn't have anything.
Holy shit. I mean, that dude needs to sue this motherfucker today. Oh, and the cops that died the next day are Any of that, like, they don't count to him. And the woman who, got trampled to death, she's not a fine woman.
There's no reason to do that. It's a disgrace. But she was the person that died, and they don't treat them.
You don't care about the other maggot lady that died, who got stomped?
Treating these people the same way. You don't see, with all of the killing and all of the fires and all of the burning, including of federal buildings, they tried to burn down the courthouses. I stopped them in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. We sent in the National Guard.
Oh, you mean after George Floyd's brother pleaded for everybody to go home, and they did, and then the next night you sent them?
I'm not even supposed to be doing that. That's supposed to be up to the Democrat governor.
Right.
These are all Democrat-run areas. But
you mean where all the he means the Democrat-run areas are the cities that pay most of the bills for the entire country, where all the money and all the jobs and the infrastructure are. That's what he's talking about.
That you don't see anybody going to jail and being.
Yeah, you do if you pay attention.
Like these people. These people are being treated horribly. I would absolutely, because some of them are being treated very unfairly. Yeah, I would absolutely give them a pardon
The
if
punishments
things
are
don't work out fairly.
Punishments are out of proportion to the crime.
Out of
No, they weren't. These assholes are still threatening to kill people.
proportion, like 20 times out of proportion. These people are being persecuted. And the other ones, when they caught people who killed people, they want to give them the minimum sentence. They're out there fighting for a minimum sentence. No, it's a very unfair situation.
By the way, the people who are in the D.C. jail that he's talking about right now, most people have gone home and they're awaiting trial at home without even an ankle monitor on. And the ones that are in the jail, they're still going to get a trial. They've had a bond hearing. They got to wait their fucking turn. And if they weren't threatening violence during their bail and bond proceedings, they'd have been home.
Lives Matter, Antifa, and others, these radical left
Yeah, the Boy Scouts.
people. I mean, you have the vice president trying to bail everybody out of jail, but they weren't in jail very long. It was pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
And getting the bail was very easy. These people are in jail, in a horrible, disgusting, dirty jail, so bad that the court system, which is very left, is angry.
The court system is very left. Didn't he put in more judges than anybody? He does realize these are people he appointed.
People have to live like this. And some of these people are not guilty. Many of these people are not guilty.
Well, then they'll find that out at trial, fucko. You're going to have a real issue with the fact that they're going to show footage of how not guilty they are.
What they've done to these, and in many cases, patriots, they're soldiers, they're policemen.
Yeah, Timothy McVeigh was a soldier too. Your point?
They've done to them compared to what they've done to the other side.
Well, there is no other side. Antifa is not a side. It's, in that particular situation, the ones that are throwing those kind of like gasoline bombs and shit like that, those guys are anarchists. They're not Democrats. They're not even Bernie voters. They despise the Democratic and the Republican parties equally. They're Jimmy Dore followers.
Have equal justice, and this isn't equal.
No.
So I would absolutely be prepared, and Lindsey Graham doesn't know what the hell he's talking about if he says that.
By the way, this whole rant of bullshit, which is incredible and grotesque, was set off just by him saying Lindsey Graham thought it was just a bridge too far to pardon all of them.
Because you have to have equal justice. It's very, very unfair.
No, you don't. You don't have to have equal justice. You have justice. You can't have equal justice. It's fucking impossible. You treat each case individually.
Happened to this group of people.
Understood.
Understood. No, I don't
You live
understand.
a great life. You're now, for the time being, a little bit out of politics.
He is? Yeah, he's back to golfing. Oh, wait, he did that while he was in office, too.
You go back into
A little bit.
a little bit. But if you go back in, you get attacked again.
Yeah.
It costs you money. It costs you a tremendous amount of wealth.
Yeah, you don't have any money right now. You're broke as fuck. Got $93 million in the bank at the end of your presidency and $300 million a year in bills. Shit, your whole life is one day in Afghanistan.
Game with them.
Sure.
What is it? What drives you? I mean, the one thing I think everybody
Yeah.
asks me, and the one thing I ask myself about you, because I watch you and I say,
Yeah, what is going on with this dude?
I've never met anybody that has that kind of drive. That
Yeah, ego. That's what it is. Thank you, Day. By the way, you're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Doing it from LA today, and then I fly back to Vegas tonight. Regular shows tomorrow. And then a special show on Friday because I'm going to be in El Paso for a day. Long story. And then, so I'll be doing those shows on the fly. That's going to be crazy. And then regular weekend.
got to do stuff as much as you do. I mean, most people by your age just want to relax.
Yeah, most people as old and out of shape as you.
Go back into this war zone. I mean, you're flirting with it right now. You're not going to announce, and I understand that. But to go back into there, I think people would have to say you're crazy.
Very simple.
I'll say that. He's crazy. But not in the crazy, like, mentally ill kind of way where it gets you off the hook. I mean crazy, like, so self-involved he can't pry himself loose from his own negative impulses.
We have a great country that's going to hell.
All right.
And it's going to hell very fast.
Yeah, and 3 years from now, you're going to run for president of hell. I can't wait to run to be... no one is better suited to be the president of hell than I am. I was almost successful in turning it into hell. Now, the seeds I planted are blooming into hell trees. And if I wait a little while for them to germinate, I will be the greatest. Make hell great again.
Not going to have a country left. And I did a great job.
He wants to be a president of hell that is not a country. There.
Did more than most presidents would do in 30 years.
8-year term. All right.
Between the taxes and the regulations and the business and everything else, then we got hit with the COVID from China, and they got to pay something for that. They're going to pay something. Nobody could afford. You know, it's probably $60 trillion worldwide. That's really the damage, $60 trillion. Not talking about all the death that they caused. But
yeah, that's just cash.
Country is going to hell.
Yeah, get back to countries going to hell. I mean, especially in terms of unemployment, wage growth, demographics, stock market, climate.
And we're going to make America great again.
Magoo! It's make America great over and over. Son of a bitch. How do I not... Hold on. Where are the... There you go. Overlays. There we go. We take this guy. We move it over to here. And we go... Magoo! Magoo! Make America great over and over. Magoo! Oh, boy. Magoo! Hold on. All right, go.
Say it. I smile, but there's nothing to smile about because...
Our country is going to hell so fast. What drives Trump to keep fighting? Being in the White House is the only thing that could protect him from being sentenced, convicted, and sentenced for the crimes he's committed in his life. And so now he's hiding. He's like, it's the only place he can hide. That's what drives him.
Our country is going bad. We're not going to have a country much longer if it keeps going. I don't think any president has done this damage. You can add up 5 presidents. They haven't done the damage that this.
Yes, you can add up 5 presidents. Reagan, George H.W. Bush, you, Taft.
Man has done in the last year. If you look at everything with the economy, the inflation, the COVID, the military embarrassment in Afghanistan, our military.
So are we just going to loop through these same talking points over and over again? Is he just going to find a truncated...
Has gone down in the eyes of the public 70%.
What?
And our military is great. I knocked out
Wait a minute. Our military has gone down in the eyes of the public 70%?
the military embarrassment in Afghanistan. Our military has gone down in the eyes of the public 70%.
Fucking what? Since when? Cite that. Where is that coming from? Honest to God. Hold on. I've got to move my my chat forward. Where's this bullshit? And by the way, maybe he's talking about an inside Republican poll because we know that they fucking hate the military and the FBI and cops now. Magoo.
And our military is great. I knocked out ISIS, don't forget. I knocked out ISIS.
Yeah, you knocked him out. I mean, in overtime. And Obama did 75% of the work. You just came in when it was almost finished.
We were told you couldn't do it.
No one told you that.
Did it in 2 months.
No, you didn't. You didn't wipe out ISIS. By the way, who was it that set off the bomb in Afghanistan when we were leaving? ISIS.
Great military. We have great generals, except for the television generals. They're stupid
By the way, those are the guys he hired.
people. But our military is great. I rebuilt our military. They gave $85 billion worth of equipment, handed it to the Taliban.
No, they didn't.
And then they had a parade saying what a stupid country America, what a stupid country
Oh, you mean 5 trucks?
United States.
Oh my God, the largest economy in the world. We got 5 trucks full of Taliban fighters who are probably most likely already dead right now from the clashes they're having with ATIM and ISIS-K and all these other groups. But yes, I feel insulted personally.
They have a parade showing off 70,000 trucks,
There was not a 70,000 truck parade.
700,000 machine guns
They were not carrying 700,000 machine guns.
and other weapons, night goggles, right out of the box, better than what we have because it was the newest version of it.
Embarrassing.
What do you mean better than what we have? We have those. That's what we have.
Planes, tanks, everything.
And weird. And do you see footage right now of the Taliban rolling around in tanks and helicopters and airplanes? You don't. Why is that? Maybe because they don't roll or fly?
Ask about the picture book real quick before we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's tell. Yeah, picture book. Sorry. Yeah. I need to pay the bills on this dump.
So you can, I mean,
I
this,
love
Yeah, it's good. Oh, it's a good book. Look at his face. He's like, they've got all of our tanks and our guns and our da-da-da, and then, ooh, book.
everything.
let's ask about the picture book real quick.
Oh, that was an edit. Look at that. That was an edit.
Planes, tanks,
Watch.
everything.
Let's ask about the picture book
Look at that. That was a shit cut.
before we go.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
so you can, I mean,
I
this
love that.
book is actually incredible.
Because his staff said, wrap it up.
These are pictures. You handpicked these pictures. You wrote the captions. Tell us just a little bit about it.
So things are going so badly for our country that
I needed to do a coffee table book to release. Honest to fucking God. You wouldn't craft legislation, give it to Mitch McConnell with your lawyers and go, this needs to be on the floor, and have him insist on a vote for it. You wouldn't have people going around the country with your plan for solving any number of these fucking problems. This is what I had to do. The country's going to hell. So my response was, make a little money off the rubes that buy my shit.
people were calling, can we have pictures? Can we have anything? Because,
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Can we? It's like the final episode of The Office. Take anything you want. I'll take the guitar. Not the guitar. Something I replace. It's like stationary something.
while it was nasty with all the hoaxes and all the scams and everything else that these people created, Adam Shifty Schiff, all these crazy
Dude, he's fucking starting at the top again.
people, and Nancy Pelosi, crazy Nancy. While it was, a very rough thing, people romanticize about our country because we were doing so well. And they said, could we do pictures? And basically it's
Could we do pictures? Dude, you and Don Jr. just scraped together a bunch of, public domain photos and shit off your Instagram and made one of those fucking Apple books to sell.
Beautiful big picture book. And we've done 250,000 copies, immediately sold out. Now we just ordered another 400,000 or 500,000. And guess what? It takes a while because you can't get the paper, you can't get the ink, you can't get the glue,
You can't get anything.
you can't get the lead.
Can't get anything. Can't get the words. Can't get the pictures. You can't get the handwritten notes. You can't get I can't sign them all.
And the printer, who's great, he's supposedly the second largest printer in the country. He said,
Supposedly.
never had problems getting paper before. Now they can't get paper. Think of it. Glue, ink, they can't get anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. You're selling a shit ton of books. We want to stock them. We just don't have the stuff. We want to, but we can't. How are we supposed to? Don't get me wrong. There's people lined up. Oh, they want the book. Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, 80,000 people at one of your rallies. Absolutely. All of them have bought 2 copies. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'd love to make more. But I can't. There's no paper. No, I haven't tried Home Depot. You mean Office Depot? No, all depots aren't the same. Do you smell almonds? All right.
But we're pressing very hard to get more copies because
Getting them so you can press more copies.
the book has been a tremendous.
Trump releases new book. Fucko, he released this a month and a half ago.
And usually a book like that is not, because it's bigger and it's a little more expensive than, a regular book, which
Yeah, a regular book with like words and shit.
for $10 or something.
Yeah, $10 word book. This got nice pictures and stuff, and it's all fancy.
But this book is a big, very successful thing.
Fuck. I think I figured out why a picture book and not a word book.
Selling on the internet for $3,000 because people can't get it. So we're doing everything we can to get.
He said people are scalping Trump books to other maggots. Oh, it's so good. Oh, the slurping is gross. That whole...
And we're trying to help him get paper. Can you believe this?
Oh, you haven't mentioned the paper yet. Jesus.
Big printer. He said, 42 years, sir, I've never had a trouble getting paper or ink or glue.
He said, I've never had a trouble. Is he an old Italian man with a big mustache?
Can to get it. And we're trying to help him get paper. Can you believe this? This is a big printer. He said, 42 years, sir, I've never had a trouble getting paper.
42 years, sir, I've never had a trouble getting a paper.
Or ink or glue.
Or glue.
He can't get anything. Yeah. So it's a very sad situation.
It's weird. Those fucking Simons and Schusters.
Going on in the country. So I hope everybody gets the book. We'll get it to you soon.
We appreciate it. Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Thank you. There's nothing like shitting all over America and the military and claiming our country is like going down the tubes and it's worthless and it's the worst it's ever been, just to sell a fucking coffee table book. Ugh.
Up after the break, Morgan Ortagus, former State Department spokesperson, joins us, breaking down the very latest.
Not at Mar-a-Lago, obviously. So that's the end of that piece.